All right, Chris O'Neill, whenever you're ready.
Hello, I'm Kristen Castanier, and my topic is the connection between social media and depression. So in the past couple years, there's been an increase in the prevalence of depression among adolescents. From 2005 to 2014, there's a 37% increase in depressive symptoms in adolescents, according to a study published in Pediatrics Journal. Also, in the past couple of years, there's been a significant increase in the use of social media, especially among adolescents. There are so many social media platforms such as Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, Facebook, and so many more, and all of these each have millions of users. So, as social media increased, there's also an increase in cyberbullying, and that raised the question, or that raised the public awareness for depression caused by social media. And so as researchers began to study the connection between the two, they found that teens that weren't being cyberbullied were also reporting depressive symptoms. I'm interested in this topic because I'm an adolescent and I use social media, and I think it's important to know the risk factors that come along with using social media. My first popular press article by Andrea McMillan is Why Instagram is the Worst Social Media for Your Mental Health. And in that, McMillan summarizes the hashtag Status of Mind summary that was conducted in the UK, and she interprets the data found in that study and found the positive and negative sides of social media. And she found that there were indeed some positives to social media, such as the promotion of self-identity and self-expression among teenagers, and also it creates a sense of community. But there were way more negatives that outweighed the positives. These negatives include poor sleep, cyberbullying, and perceptions of negative body image. Most importantly, they found that the biggest negative impact on mental health from social media was the fear of missing out, or FOMO. And that comes from teenagers going on social media and seeing their friends posting about going out, having a good time, and they feel inadequate in their own life if they're not going out and doing the same thing that their peers are doing. McMillan proposed many solutions to this problem, such as government-funded safe internet courses, and she proposed that social media apps should shut down automatically once teenagers have been on them for long periods of time so that they don't overextend themselves on social media. My second popular press article is Don't Let Facebook Make You Miserable by Seth Stephens-Davidowitz, and he proposed that Facebook shouldn't make people upset and that you shouldn't get depressed based off of social media posts on Facebook because they never tell the whole truth. Facebook is just a cultivation of people embellishing what they have and what they do on the weekends, and that it's not a reasonable way to make you depressed. You should know that what people are posting aren't true. An example that he provided with this was with hotels in Las Vegas, and he said that the Circus Circus Hotel in Las Vegas, which is very low budget, and the Bellagio Hotel in Las Vegas, which is a luxury, very expensive hotel, have approximately the same number of visitors staying in them each night. However, half as many people check in at the Circus Circus than they do at the Bellagio. Seth Stephens-Davidowitz also described his own study that he conducted where he compared Google searches to Facebook posts because he believed that Google is a more accurate portrayal of what people think. So he found that if you type in "my husband is ... on Facebook, the most prevalent responses that you'll get is "my husband is the best" or "my husband is cute." But if you look it up in Google and you type "my husband is," the most responses that come up is "my husband is a jerk" or "my husband is annoying." So that just shows the difference between the two websites. My third popular press article is by Dr. Melinda Ring, and it was titled Teen Depression and How Social Media Can Help or Hurt. And she started off by just showing that there were recent studies that connected social media to depressive symptoms, but then she also conjectured that maybe social media can be a solution to the problem as well. She told the story about her son, Matthew, who in high school started showing depressive symptoms and came forward and said that he was feeling depressed. And Dr. Ring wanted to cut out social media entirely because she felt that that had a large impact on it. But the social worker and the therapist on the case encouraged him to use social media just in a positive way. So he began to build online support groups and emotional groups to see that he wasn't alone in what he was going through, and it helped his symptoms improve. My first scientific article by Radovic, Mellon, Stein, and Miller interviewed in person and over the phone 23 adolescents that were previously diagnosed with depression. And in these interviews, they asked about the type and extent of social media that they use and the positive and negative experiences that they have on social media. And they found that teens feel positive when they use social media to keep up on current events and the latest humor trends and celebrities, but they feel negative on social media when they come in contact with stressed posting, which is defined as when people post online when they're depressed. And it's attention seeking and they normally post negative things. Also, teens feel negative when they go on social media with the feeling that they need to be accepted by what they post. So this study concluded that problematic social media use is what leads to depression and anxiety, not necessarily just social media in general, but when you use social media in addictive or maladaptive ways. My second scientific article by Oberst, Weigman, Stott, Brand, and Camaro wanted to see what specifically led to depressive symptoms when using social media. So they tested FOMO, or the fear of missing out, and social media intensity for an online survey conducted in Latin America. And they found that the fear of missing out leads to problematic social media use, which is what leads to the depressive symptoms. They found that something different than the other studies found was that social media intensity, or the time and amount of times people go on social media during the week, has no impact whatsoever on depressive symptoms. My third scientific article tested depressive symptoms among adolescents in the United States, and they wanted to see how social media affected mood. And they, like the last study, concluded that social media intensity has no effect on mood, so the amount of time you spend on social media doesn't affect depressive symptoms, but addictive usage of social media is what leads to depressive symptoms. And they conjectured that this is because when you use social media in an addictive way, you neglect other aspects of your life, such as sleep and in-person communication. The audience among the popular press articles was mainly just the general public and social media users in general, because it showed that there are risks in using social media and what social media users should look out for. But also, the popular press articles were written to parents as well, because Dr. Melinda Ring wrote her story as a parent of a depressive teen and what she did and looked out for in her teen to make sure that the problem didn't escalate. The scientific articles were made more for mental health professionals, specifically those that specialize in pediatrics or depression and anxiety. And you could tell that it was geared more towards mental health professionals because it required you to analyze the data. The argument among the popular press article was that social media is a reasonable reason to be depressed, that social media does cause a fear of missing out and leads to feelings of inadequacy in your own life, and they proposed that solutions would be to just cut out social media in general. The scientific articles argued that there is a legitimate connection between social media and depression, and they proved that scientifically, but their solutions were that you don't need to cut out social media in general, you only need to cut out the problematic uses of social media. The evidence among the Popular Press articles were mainly statistics that were taken and analyzed from other scientific studies done earlier, but there were also personal stories as well mixed in there. So the Popular Press articles, the evidence was more subjective, but among the scientific articles, the evidence was either interviews or surveys that the writers conducted themselves, so it was more objective. So in conclusion and overall, the Popular Press articles did a really good job portraying the evidence found in the scientific articles, but they just made it a blanket statement that all social media is bad, where the scientific articles said that not all social media is bad, it's just how you use social media. The information altogether connected to growing problems among adolescents, which is prevalence of depression and the increasing popularity of social media. So that proves that we shouldn't, just because teens are depressed because of social media, we shouldn't just cast them away and not treat them the same. We should treat adolescent depression caused by social media the same way that you would treat other clinical depressions, because there is a real connection between the two. So, thank you.